that you know has a Navy Federal account, okay, they have been taking money. Check this out.
$95 million in penalties. That is how much Navy Federal Credit Union has been slapped with for charging illegal overdraft fees. Now, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau says this is the largest amount ever imposed on a credit union for illegal activity.
As News 4 Jax reporter Ann Maxwell explains, Navy Federal says it doesn't believe it did anything wrong.
The good news for Navy Federal members is that more than $80 million of that money will be refunded to them. The rest of it will go into a victims relief fund. The credit union has also been ordered to stop charging those illegal overdraft fees. It's the nation's largest credit union, serving more than 14 million service members, veterans, civilian military employees, and their families. But the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau says Navy Federal Credit Union deceived its members with surprise overdraft fees on ATM withdrawals and debit card purchases from 2017 to 2021. The CFPB said this happened in two ways, charging $20 on purchases made with sufficient funds, only to later charge what the CFPB calls illegal fees when the transactions were later processed. The CFPB says the credit union also showed incoming payments from services like Zelle and Cash App as available to spend without disclosing that payments received after specific hours wouldn't actually post until the next business day. Navy Federal released a statement saying in part, quote, Navy Federal fully cooperated with the CFPB's investigation and we will continue to comply with all applicable laws and regulations, just as we always have and as we believe we did here. Nevertheless, the settlement enables us to focus on serving our members and their families. As a member-owned, not-for-profit credit union, we are focused on putting our members first.
All right, so guys, listen, this actually is what that was the original lawsuit, okay? But let me bring you all up to speed, okay? So you got a couple things that's going on here. Number one, for those who don't remember, that was actually happening last year, okay? And then let's go ahead and go into what ended up happening so far. So here's where we are, okay? Right now, as you guys can see right here, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau has dismissed the $95 million overdraft case. So that news clip I just showed you was proof that they admitted to it, that they said we're going to get this resolved. But now the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, they dismissed the case. Now, they didn't dismiss the case because it was wrong. They dismissed the case. We're not going to go into politics, but the current administration has essentially closed every single bank-related case, which means not only did Navy Federal take your money. Now, let me pause real quick. I'm a fan of Navy Federal. A lot of people like Navy Federal. The issue is this proves that a lot of these credit unions, a lot of these banks, they do the same stuff. Either way, they didn't get in trouble for it. They just took $95 million. Okay, with 80, check this out. Originally, Navy Federal was going to have to refund $80 million, but now Navy Federal no longer will have to refund $80 million to you all, servicemen, servicewomen, for illegally charging them overdraft fees on their accounts, okay? After the Trump administration moved to dismiss the case. Now, here's the thing. Let's keep going. Now, this goes back to 2024. This was an issue known as authorized positive overdraft fees, which means people had the money pending. It was about to come to their account, or they had Zelle transfers to catch it in time. They were charging people overdraft fees even though the money hit their account. Now, this was from 2017 to 2022. Okay, so again, that's when they realized that that entire process was happening. Okay, now I know what some of you guys are thinking. Well, Calvin, you know what? How come they shut this down? And even though there was proof that they did it, it's because the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau hasn't been doing anything. Okay, let me show you all this. This is the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau's website. Okay, so we all know, because a lot of people use them for disputes. We use them for a lot of things. If you go to their enforcement tab and you go to where it says enforcement actions, the last time they went after anybody was January 30th. Now, you're probably thinking, well, Calvin, how often do these banks and financial institutions do something wrong? Well, let's just see. January 30th, January 2017. By the way, guys, all of these cases have been dropped. against Wise.com, Equifax, a mortgage company, Honda Finance, Block, which is essentially they own Cash App, Capital One, Experian. Essentially, anything can happen with any of these banks and no one has your back. If they let Navy Federal do what they want to do, they're letting everybody do whatever they want to do. I want to make sure you guys understand this. Okay, this isn't just Navy Federal. This is essentially going to be the same thing with everybody. You know why? Watch this. Because it says right here, the CFPB gave little reason for withdrawing the consent order under the new president, right? Not just President Trump, of course, it's his administration, but he put this guy, Russell Vought, in charge, right? For those who don't know, if you go back in time, this is the whole project. No, we're not even gonna go into it. Either way. And so he's the president's budget director, who is the acting head of the bureau. Okay. Now, just so you guys know, if you still don't know what's going on, you do know the CFPB, they were in the big beautiful bill. You guys know that, right? They cut half of the funding for the CFPB. So again, all of these companies, let me go back. All of these cases have been closed. They're slowly closing all of these cases. The Walmart case, oh yeah. So now there's another Walmart case that's going on right now as well too. All of these companies, every single one of them, including Zelle, all of them have been closed. So that means they have stolen money. They've stolen money. Okay. So again, who's going to go after these companies? No one. This is it right here. You guys see this? Let's go and pull this up. November. Now, this is another situation here. Okay. But they closed that one too. They used to have it where you could see everything on the site. They don't have anything anymore. There it is right there. Okay. Here's the press release. Look at that. It says on July 1st, pursuant to its authority, the Bureau terminated the order. You can't even see the information anymore. They don't even want you to see what happened. Hey, I just want to make sure you all know what's going on here. And it's not just Navy Federal. ViStar Credit Union got in trouble. They dropped that case. Okay. Goldman Sachs, they dropped that case. Okay. Fairway Mortgage, they dropped that case. They're letting these banks, financial institutions, do whatever they want to do. Now, I know some people are saying, well, the CFPB does nothing. I mean, listen, do you think they're going to listen? There hasn't been a new case since January 30th. They're not going to do anything going forward. Okay. So I wanted to make sure you guys got that information. Okay. Because again, it's not going anywhere. All right. So just want to make sure you guys knew that. Again, they're not going to return back any of the money. So now let's see here. Navy Federal is by far the largest credit union in the country with over 14 million members and $180 billion in assets. If Navy Federal were considered a traditional bank, it would be the 24th largest bank in the country. Okay. And they're not going to pay you your money. I want to make sure you guys got that. Y'all got that? Good. Okay. So either way, just want to make sure you guys know that. Again, this is what's happening. Okay. So is it unfortunate? All the rest of that stuff? Sure. But this is just the beginning. There are many more companies that are going to be doing the same thing, doing what they want to do, and no one's going to watch them. So I'm just making sure, because it's so much stuff going on in the world right now. You can't really pay attention to one specific thing. These are the things that's happening behind the scenes. No one's going to tell you about this stuff. That's where we come in. We want you to know what's happening. What's happening? Let's go and get into the comments, guys. I want to see what you guys think about it. Let me know your thoughts inside the comment section. What's your thoughts on this? Sergeant King says, when was this? Matter of fact, let me pull this article back up so you guys can. I'm gonna share my screen so you guys can see here, so we can get some of these questions answered, guys. So here, watch this. He said, when was this? So now this was between this right here. Navy Federal was found to authorize these types of overdraft fees between 2017 and 2022. Then they later stopped the practice, and they even refunded some customers who were impacted, but only if you complained. So many people were complaining. That's when the CFPB got involved. Okay. So listen, at first, if you had overdraft fees between 2017 and 2022, because I know some people are going to come into the comments and say, well, you should just pay your bills. You should just have money in the account. Here's what you're missing. Money was in the account. Money was in the account. Anyway, what do we know? Turtle says, watching now, right? Mike Jones says, I did one of those share loans. I followed protocol. I paid every dime back and they kept my money and said I withdrew it before I was approved. Even though I did it, it was my money. This is what's happening behind the scenes. Now, is it happening for everybody? No, it's not happening for everybody. But just because it's not happening for everybody, guys, doesn't mean it's not happening. Doesn't mean it is not happening, guys. You all understand that? Let's keep going. Michelle says, wow. Yeah, crazy. Now, again, does that mean that Navy Federal is a bad bank or a bad credit union? I'll let you decide that. Does this mean that they're flawless? Not at all. Now, again, everyone's situation is going to be different. I'm not saying take your money out or anything. I'm just letting you know. You do with this information as you will. But don't be surprised. Be prepared. Don't be surprised. Mike says, and the Navy Federal app is trash. It's always sending delayed messages out of the blue. Muriel says, listen, 110 people, please hit the like button. I know that's right. Appreciate you guys being here per usual. You see this, Alethea? You see this? Crazy, man. Crazy. Now, this doesn't mean that you can't still get a great credit card with Navy Federal. This doesn't mean that you shouldn't still build a relationship with them. But this just lets you know that they're just like everybody else. They're just like everybody else. So again, I just want to set the expectation, right? So that way we're not surprised. We're going to be prepared. Okay. So again, Jessica says, trying to teach my daughters to be financially responsible. Someone needs to parent these institutions. So sad. That's what this is all about, guys. Who is going to watch these companies if look, I want you to pay attention to these dates. Look at these financial institutions when the CFPB before this isn't, I'm not going to go into politics. A second grader can see this. If you got a second grader on summer break, I'm telling you, they can figure this out. This is what a second grader can figure out. Company got in trouble January 30th. Company got in trouble January 17th. Company got in trouble on the 17th. You guys see these dates? Look at how close they are, right? Look at how close they are, right? So that means these companies were doing something almost every week, at least every month. Let's at least say every month. Since January, they're saying no financial institution has done anything wrong. Listen, Alethea says, I ought to be my own bank. I know that's right. But either way, guys, I wanted to make sure you got this information. And yes, Jason, you know this is live, brother. This is live. Can't get no liver than this. But either way, listen, guys, you need to know this information. So if you know someone that has Navy Federal Credit Union, make sure they get this information because they thought, that money you thought you was going to get back, it's a wrap. We're talking 80 million gone. 90, because remember, 15 million was for some other stuff. But again, the 80 mil is gone. They were supposed to pay that back to you. It's gone, guys. Have a nice day. All right. Either way, you guys got the information. I will see you guys on the next video. I just want to make sure you guys got the information directly from the 850 Club